Hi everybody, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to show you different ways you can use air dry clay, and it's very easy to do. You don't need much and you will be able to do wonders. I really appreciate air dry clay, and I'm going to use this one here. It's WePam. It's a very soft clay. It's absolutely the best I know here in the place where I live. I don't know if you will be able to find this one in your country, but it needs to be it's porcelain clay, so it dries without needing any oven, so it's really economical. And you can make a whole bunch of these without any problem. So I have a few examples here that I'm going to share with you and show you that you can use different ways to make. I'm a great fan of flowers, so I'm going to show you how to make flowers, but you can adapt this to any other kind of shape. And we're going to use different molds. We're going to use cookie cutters, and this is more like for a beginner tutorial, but I'm getting more into air dry clay or Fimo clay, and you can adapt this to Fimo as well. So it's both for air dry clay and Fimo, just using different tools without having to rob a bank to use that. You know, very cheap things. We'll put the links if you want me to underneath. Very simple ways, different flowers here, and I'm going to show you that. So even this one, look at this. And it dries fairly quickly in 24 hours, depending on where you are. Of course, if it's hot or not, it's going to dry even faster. So I'm going to put this aside for now. And we're going to start doing a little bit of this. So what I like to use with some of the air dry clays, and this one also, is a little bit of hand cream. I think it makes things easier to unmold, and you can use this into silicone molds. We'll see that in a second. And a little paintbrush is going to be useful. I'm also using a non-sticky surface. This is a silicone mat. This is also very useful. So I'm going to take a little bit of this. Oh, I'm sorry, I have blood on my finger. I just cut myself. So let me tell you this. I'm going to share this with you so you will know. I used to have a Fimo blade, and the Fimo blade, or at least the brand, is not supposed to really cut your fingers, okay? It's sharp, but it's not supposed to cut. And I couldn't find it, so I bought this one that is supposed to do the same thing, but I bought it on AliExpress. And actually, this is a real blade, and I just cut myself. That makes the second time, and I just cut myself previously a few minutes ago, again on my finger, because it really is sharp. It's a blade, and it's not only cutting clay, but it cuts fingers, and it might cut many more things. So be careful when you buy this. Make sure, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there is a blade here. Maybe you'll see that on camera. So be careful, it's not good. Okay. I'm going to put a little band-aid, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, here I am. Sorry about that. So let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of that cream and put it onto my first surface. Even though this is a non-stick mat, it still tends to stick a little bit. The clay sticks to it. So this is why I'm putting clay. Also a little bit of my fingers. I would say it's something really nice anyway. So I'm going to take this air dry clay out. Always keep it in a nice baggie. Maybe also in a Ziploc bag, because it's going to help make it stay like it's supposed to stay. This brand is absolutely gorgeous. Can you see this? Sorry for my fingers, but I have used clay and ink. Sorry, acrylic paint. This is why I have a little bit of pink here. But can you see this? When it does this spike here, it's a good brand. It's something really nice to do. I've tried other ones, like this kind of clay, but it doesn't work. It's more like paper mache, and it's not as detailed. This is a really nice one, and it's white. Usually the other ones are often kind of grayish color, and it doesn't work for me. It is more like paper mache. So I'm going to take a little bit of this. If I need more, I will be able to use it and come back. And again, I'm going to protect it and put it back into its container and shut it close. All right. So you can, they come in a variety of colors. Whatever brand you're going to use, it will be the same. And you will be able to mix the colors. But here I'm going to show you also that you can mix colors with acrylic paint. Any brand will do. I'm using two different brands here. I wanted to have a little bit of green. And I'm just going to put a very small amount of paint. You can always add more, but it's going to be hard to. And I'm going to add this one too. I want to show you this on a bigger scale. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. If you don't want to have your hands dirty, you can always put gloves. I don't really mind. You know, when you're crafting, you have paint, you have glue, and I don't really matter that much. Just make sure that you have clean hands in between colors when you change colors. So the more you're going to mix this, the more the colors are going to blend. If you want to have more a marble effect, you need to blend it less, you know, put it in shape less. And always knead it very nicely before using it. It's very soft. This is what I like this clay, because if you have any disability in your hands, this clay is absolutely wonderful. So make sure whatever brand you buy that it's nice for your hands. Okay, it's not going to be too hard. Sometimes Fimo is really hard. So this is why I like doing this. Even though I don't have any problems with my hands, I still think it's really nice. I'm going to put a little bit more. It's a bit pastel, and I want to make sure that you're going to see what I'm doing here. All right, so now what you need to do, I'm going to put it in a bowl like this. Put a little bit of cream on my surface. Also on my roller here, just to make sure it's not going to stick. And the first one we're going to use are these cookie cutters. So I've bought these on Amazon. They're very cheap, and they come like this. And instead of 3, big one, medium size, and a small size. Just for the purpose of the video, I'm going to use one size because you'll understand what I'm doing. And I want to make some small flowers, not huge ones. And I'm going to roll it. And because of the shape, I don't need to have it too large. All right, I think it's going to be good. And I don't want this to be too thick either. And you'll see how you can use that. So first, let me take it out. Put some more cream here. All right, that's good. Then I'm going to take my cookie cutter and just put it there. And I'm going to make sure to have a nice even pressure. And what I like to do is just take this apart. It's way more easy. And then take this one apart. Okay. It's maybe a little bit thick, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put it upside down and I'm going to fold it. So make sure, and the design is meant to be like this, to overlap your petals. What are going to become your petals. So you fold it in half. I'm going to press down here. This size I think is a little flatter. And you're going to start rolling by one end. And starts rolling small, and then it's going to go thicker. You can stop at any point. Like if I wanted to stop here, it will look like a little bud. If you want to make it bigger, you just keep on rolling. Until the end of it. And then the only thing that you can do now is put the petals apart. I think my room is a bit too hot here, so this clay tends to be really malleable. I can really put it in any shape and form I want, so I can pull on the petals a little bit, open my flower, and there you go. And this is quite a pretty flower. Sorry for my voice. And there you go. And you can use any kind of tool as well. I like to use maybe this and make some patterns. So it's not just, maybe use more this pokey tool here. Yeah, I like this one better. To make a little bit of texture on your flower. It doesn't have to look completely real, but something a little bit more interesting than just a flat flower. I like this color. See how nice this is? And like I said, if you want to stop before, it's going to make a little bud like I've just done here. It's the same flower, but it's less thick. This one is quite thick. If you want to make it thinner, that's totally up to you. I think my base here is a bit too large, so what I'm going to do is just cut it without cutting my fingers, if I can. So this is the axis I'm not going to use. And then I'm going to put it back to dry here on the side, and I'm good to go. So this was a very easy cookie cutter to use, and I have exactly about the same in only one size as a die for my paper. So that's going to be nice. I'm going to be able to do nice shapes as well with paper. So now I'm going to mold this a little bit more, and I'm going to use this silicone mold. I'm not a great fan of these shapes because the flowers tend to be a bit flat, but I'm just going to show you that it works really fine, whatever kind of silicone mold you're using. So maybe I'm going to use, what about this flower here? I've put a bit too much. I'm going to take the excess away and press down carefully and then unmold it. If you need to, if you see that you have some troubles taking your clay out, you might want to, because this is not perfect as you see, so what you might want to do first, because some of them are sticky. I don't know why. This one, for example, I'm going to show you in a minute. This one is sticky, and I just cleaned it, but it's still very sticky. So what you can do, I'm going to put that in here again. I'm going to take a paintbrush, and this is a very old one. As you can see, it's got all his bristles going in all ways, in all directions, but it's just perfect for what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the excess off. You don't need much, and I'm going to put this in here. Go all into the nuts and crevices. I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to go in this one here, and I will do that one as well. You don't really need to take much, and doing this with a paintbrush helps you to go in all these crevices. That's nice. So I'm going to take my clay again and put it in here. If I need a little bit more, I can do that. And it's going to help release the clay from the mold. There you go. Much nicer, but you can see that it's quite flat, but it's working just fine. I'm going to show you this one now that is much deeper. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of that cream inside here everywhere because it's really deep. This kind of mold, you cannot use it for UV resin. Regular epoxy resin, yes, but UV resin, no, because in all these crevices that you can see here is going to be dark. So if you use your light, your UV light, it's not going to go everywhere here and it will never dry. So don't use this kind of colored silicone, only the ones that are white or even translucent. They're not completely white, they're translucent. So the light can really go everywhere and set your resin to completely harden. So I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to use a little bit of this. I showed this previously, but I'm going to show you again what you can do. If you don't want to use the whole flower and just use a little part of it, you can totally do that. I'm just putting a little amount in here. If I don't want to have a huge flower, it could make, depending on the shape of the flower, it's going to make like a little bud or a smaller rose. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to help myself with my fingers. And this one is quite hard to mold. Got a little bit of rose in here. I'm going to keep it in shape a little bit. But there you go. And it's a nice flower, but the rose seemed to be lying on the side. This is why I'm not totally crazy. This is the full size. and I'm going to look for something else. And actually, I have found yesterday in a shop, I have found these beautiful acrylic flowers. So these are with a double-sided tape on the back. And I have just decided to make some molds out of these. There are 4 sizes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they are just perfect. Look at this. They're perfect as flowers. That's a rose. This is not exactly what I'm looking for. So I hope to be able to show you that it needs some time to set. I'm making my own molds out of things like this. Okay, I'm going to grab this little piece out there. That's good. Now I'm going to show you this one too. So these clays are wonderful because you can mold them and shape them with your fingers. You can use cookie cutters. You can use silicone molds, and it's really detailed. That is important. When you buy one, just don't buy a whole big pack. Just buy a small pack and make sure, give it some tests to see if you like it and if it's really nice in details. This is important. This is way too small. Maybe I'm going to add this one too. And try not to put too much and go out of your mold. Let me come and zoom in a little bit. That was fast. All right, so I'm going to go in there and try to stay within the mold and not too much outside, because you will have less cleaning to do afterwards. I think it's kind of the right amount. I might have a little bit of cleaning, but not too much. I don't think so. Press down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so I will have the pair. All right, now I'm going to mold this. There we go. Come on, baby. Oh, that's nice. This one is almost perfect. I think I've put too much there. What you can do if your clay is a bit too soft is maybe wait like 5 or 10 minutes that it hardens a little bit, so it will be easier to take away of your mold from your mold. So now if you have put too much, like I have here, just a tiny bit too much, use just a little toothpick like this and take all the excess away. Like in this part here, mainly here, I have put way too much. And it's always better to clean it up right now, since it's very soft, than when it's dry, because then you'll have to sand it down, and because it's so detailed, it's going to be a pain in the back to do that. So very nice one. This is a very beautiful one. I'm going to show you all the details that it picked up. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. Can you see this? How beautiful. Can you see all these details? I am in love. What about earrings? What about earrings? It might be a little bit hard to put it this way. You can put it in shape and put it there. So now you have a straight earring if you wanted to. That would be beautiful. You know what? I'm going to do these in earrings. So I'm going to let this dry like this. I'm going to put it a little straight. Make sure that everything is nice. Again, when you're not sure about what kind of clay to use, buy different types and give it a shot. Make some tests and you'll keep the best. And always stick to that one. What we're going to do now is use other kinds of molds. And if you saw one of my previous video using this for Christmas, I did a Santa Claus. So you can mold it easily with your fingers. So I don't really need to show you that. I'm just going to show you with this kind of mold. This is also a cookie mold, cookie cutter. And I'm going to put a little bit of this cream on it. And when you press down, you've got these little prints on it. you'll see probably this, okay, you can see it here. It's going to give a little design on it so it's not completely flat with no interest. And I'm going to do the same one here. It comes with sets of 3 or 4 depending on the brands. You can find all these cookie cutters on Amazon for very, very, very cheap. Okay, I'm going to put one here. So first you press here and then you press in the center. I'm going to take this out. And there you have it. Again, let me take this away. This is the excess. I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to do this one more time with the same cookie cutter, and I'm going to use twice this one as well, and I'll be back. And finally, my last flower. I just had enough. I wasn't sure, but that's perfect. All right. Press, press. Take that away. And there you go. Okay, so normally air dry clay, read maybe the specifications of your brand, but doesn't really stick to itself like Fimo would when it goes then in the oven. So what you would need to do first is maybe use a little bit of glue. And I'm going to put the first layer here. Then I'm going to overlap this one, making sure that it's not, I'm overlapping the petals. Okay. And I'm going to use my paintbrush and I'm going to press down in the center here. I should have used the glue before, but that's fine. I'm sure it's going to stick to itself. Just in case, I'm going to use glue this time. A little bit of PVA glue in the center. Now I'm going to use the small one here. I'm also overlapping it. More glue. Right. And now this one here that also is going to be overlapping. You don't have to use all of these. It's just like I think it's nice when it has a lot of dimension to it. And I'm going to put this in the center as being just the center of my flower. I don't need to make it completely perfect or shut. And right now, if I want to lift it up, because it's very, very soft, it tends to go back and swing back on itself. It's not really taking the shape. So what you can do is maybe like 10 or 15 minutes later, when it starts to harden, because it starts to harden quite fairly quickly, then you can come back and put it in shape. And it's going to stay more like this. You can help yourself also squeeze it between something, but the flower is going to keep its shape nicely when it's starting to dry a little bit. And I would completely see this maybe as a pendant or even as a ring. I love big rings. I don't mind wearing something like this. And you can paint over it, of course, once it's dry. You can put varnish on it. You can paint it. Put paint first and then varnish it. I'm not going to leave it plain like this. I would probably put, on this one, I would put a bead in here. A little bead. Maybe not a blue bead, but a pink bead to make it more interesting, not only having one color. But I think this one is really nice. Look at the details. Can you see the details specifically on this on this petal here? It's the same on all petals. And I really, really think it's nice. And it's still kind of keeping its shape. It's not coming too flat. Let me put it on the side here. Can you see this? It's so nice. This is what this particular brand is absolutely wonderful. I will put the links where you can buy it depending on which country you're in. You might be able to find it. I know it works in Spain. I think it works in England. But this is so fun to do. So I think we've done it all. You can use your fingers and model it. You can use any kind of mold. These are silicone molds. You can use these kinds of cookie cutter. You can use these cookie cutter. You can shape it with any kinds of tools. I haven't used these tools yet. I don't really know what they are used for, but I'm going to use these embellishments to make earrings. And the other ones I have done previously, I think I'm going to use them on cards or on little boxes. I think it's going to be so nice. But look at this. So detailed. So it's just wanted to show you little buds, how you can make a whole bunch of flowers. And in one of my future videos, I'm going to make many more of these. I'm going to use all these flowers in order to decorate a bottle. We're going to be putting paint, and we're going to be putting our flowers. We're going to be putting probably beads and all kinds of things, and paper collage on an empty bottle. It can be any kind of container actually, and we're going to use all these flowers. So I'm going to make more because I will be needing a much more amount of them, and if I have too many, you know what? Always useful for anything else. So if you like this video, if you think it was helpful, please give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. And also, please share on social medias. Leave me your comments. If you just want to come and say hello, I would love to. And did you ever try to use air dry clay? It's different than using Fimo, but it's so soft. It's absolutely wonderful. I love the results. And I don't mind waiting maybe 1 or 2 days to make it completely dry. The bigger your piece is going to be, or the thicker it's going to be, the longer, of course, it's going to take to dry. And also the temperature of your room. So there you go, and I hope to see you soon for other videos. Take care and see you soon.